I'm Salad, Mint Salad, and I saw Die Another Day. It is directed by Lee Tamahori, written by Robert Royd and Neil Purvis. If you haven't seen this movie, I will spoil it for you. This movie starts, we're following James Bond. He's in North Korea. He's trying to escape, and oh boy, he has a narrow escape, but he gets captured by the North Koreans, and then he suffers for 14 months in prison until he gets traded out. First of all, MI6. They left James Bond in there for 14 months? Why? I'm guessing that the North Koreans wouldn't give over James Bond unless they gave somebody else over, and they actually do give somebody else over. He's not a good guy, he's kind of a murderer, he's doing a lot of espionage, he's not a good dude, you know? And he's from North Korea. And now he's loose. So it's up to James Bond to find out where this guy is going and try to stop him. There's also these diamonds that are found, and there's this dude who found a bunch of diamonds in Iceland, got really rich, and has invited James Bond to his ice palace in Iceland. Isn't there greenery in Iceland? I thought Iceland and Greenland was like a Viking trick. Oh, we're gonna make sure people go to Greenland, but there's a bunch of ice there. Ha 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 ha, you know, stuff like that. But also it's interesting. As soon as James Bond gets out of the 14 months of torture that he had to endure, then we got M being like, oh yeah, we revoked your 007 status. Now you're just 7 instead of 007. You're just 7. And he's like, why? And she's like, oh, well, we thought you were sharing secrets. And James Bond's like, I was not. I'm offended that you would even think that. And of course, it takes a little bit of convincing, but he gets the 00 back in his 7 name. Instead of being 7, he's now 007 again. So of course, James Bond, being invited to that ice palace in Iceland, he's like, well, I'm just gonna investigate what's here. How impractical is an ice palace? It would just melt. I feel like even the explanation in the movie is kind of whack. But we got a temperature setting that makes it so the ice stays cold while it's warm for the people. I'm like, that is impossible. That's literally impossible. How you doing this? But of course, it's happening. There's a bunch of people without like jackets over. They're like having bare skin, which suggests that it's warm inside this ice palace, and somehow it's not melting. And of course, we got the guy who got really rich off of those diamonds. He has this machine, this weapon in space. How did they get it up in space? Isn't there a treaty? There's like a no space weapons treaty happening. Like, actually, how did this guy pass that? The way he pitches it to his investors is like, oh, this is the way that we can make agriculture great again, okay? We gotta make sure that we heat up the earth more? Come on. This guy's plan is stupid. It is dumb. It doesn't make any sense, but of course he has this laser weapon that takes the sun, and he can do it in a concentrated force like a weapon, or have it kind of just be more bright everywhere and less concentrated. And all of these rich investors like, yeah, this is awesome. And I'm like, bro, this is a weapon. If you guys are so concerned about global warming, why are you melting the ice caps with this machine? Oh, you want to make a greenhouse effect? Go ahead, I guess. Flood everything you want. That's what you want. It seems like this guy did not think about the unintended consequences of this machine. I think he mostly just wanted it so he could have a laser beam using the sun's energy just to use, you know? And the agriculture thing is just a front, but it's a terrible front. I think through it and be like, this sucks. Why'd you make this? There must be some other reason why you made this. And James Bond thinks this too. He also meets this chick. She's cute. She turns out to be from the NSA, and she's in this ice palace, and this guy uses his weapon to melt the ice palace and make it so she almost drowns, but James Bond's able to save her, and then he goes out of Dodge. He just goes. Saves this woman's life, and he's like, okay, well, how do I stop this freaking machine that's happening? There's a laser, a space sun laser happening, and I need it to not exist anymore. Turns out he wants to get rid of that zone in between North and South Korea so North Korea can invade South Korea. And I'm like, why? They established that zone themselves. Why do you want to get rid of it? By the way, North Korea is not going to win. All of their soldiers are malnourished. okay, are you serious? You think that North Koreans are gonna win? I don't think so. He's able to kill the guy, and he's able to destroy the weapon, and that's pretty much the movie. I feel like the diamond thing was only mentioned to show how this guy got a bunch of money. It just kind of seems placed in there. The very end of this movie, we got James Bond, he's going down this snow thing, and it looks so CGI. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is not practical anymore. I can see the blue screen, I can see the computer graphics. This is 2002. It just looks dated. The graphics is very noticeable in this one. I really do like the glitchy effects that the invisible car has. I thought that was pretty cool. There's probably like 3 minutes straight of just CGI. I'm like, ugh, this is taking me out of the movie. I really like the title, Die Another Day, and I like the song, Die Another Day. I don't know, I think I just have a soft spot for early 2000s stuff. That's pretty cool. I like Linkin Park and early 2000s hip-hop, so it kind of, I like the song. I like the song for that reason. Early 2000s, sweet spot in music. James Bond only sleeps with 2 women in this movie. Jinx, that's the chick that he's with pretty much the entire time, the NSA agent. She's adorable. I love her, and she can fend for herself. She's not one of those damsel in distress James Bonds. She has a brain. I feel like I said this in the previous James Bond movie, that a lot of the women in more modern James Bond films are starting to have brains versus the earlier James Bond films. They have no brains. I watched this movie, I was like, huh? Wait, how does that make sense? I don't understand the through line logic here. It's pretty cool. The title's rad, but the plot itself, I'm like, it's whatever. It was a fun thing to watch. If you turn your brain off, this is a fun movie. But if you leave your brain on, you start thinking about the plot holes in this movie. And I feel like the plot holes are more evident in this movie than the other James Bond movies. I don't really have much else to say about this film. What's your favorite part about Die Another Day? What did I leave out? I'm sure I did leave out a bunch of stuff. I felt like the details were honestly kind of muddy, and I just said the most important parts of this film. The plot's whatever, but because I enjoyed it so much, I think I'd give it a 6 out of 10. If you like this review, watch another on the platform you like. Set $20 Dinos, patreon.com/ASEPresents. 1 movie review for 1 month. Go to the link tree, support the daily grind, and support them daily movies. So go here, and until next time, I'll see you later. My salad croutons, bacon bits, and be sure to die another day. Don't die today. Die another one. Die on another day. Adios.